Hey, it's Melissa from Kiwibanana, and today I'm going to do a little bit of a mukbang video. I got some water here, I got my lunch, so it's like a day off from work today, so I thought I would sit down with you and do a mukbang. So in here I've eaten about half the celery before I sprinkled it on. I'm sorry, I've had to take the dog outside because he's gonna try and eat all my food. And he's whining. I feel sorry for him. I'm sorry. There's like glass doors right behind the camera. I'm sorry. Okay. And then I've got those flat rice noodles. It's got some silver beet in there. The silver beet and the celery are actually from the garden of the house that I'm house sitting at the moment. And there's got some black bean paste, some miso paste, and some coconut yogurt, and a little bit of rice syrup just to sweeten it up, and some soybeans or edamame beans, whatever you like to call them. And a wee glass of water. Oh, so good, so good. How many litres of water are you guys drinking today? Because make sure it's at least 2. You've got to drink your water. Wow, I think the last time I did a mukbang was probably about a year ago, and the time before that was probably like a year ago. Yeah, I don't do them very often because it just takes so long to upload them to the internet. The download speed in New Zealand is like it's okay, but the upload speed, like when you actually want to upload content to the internet, it's terrible. Okay, so if you don't know what a mukbang video, it's normally when you eat and talk in front of the camera. So if you're not really into hearing those sort of sounds, then maybe this is not really the video for you, but I'm gonna eat and talk because it's a long time since I've done this. And yeah, I feel like I may have started a bit of a trend when I did the last one. Reg Flowers, I'll put a link to his channel down below. He started doing them not long after I did a mukbang video, so I'm not sure, Reg, let me know, like, did you start doing them because of me? Or I guess there was a couple of other people who was doing them around about that time, and he started doing them. His mukbang videos are great. I love watching Reg's channel. I love watching his content. Now, I don't actually have like a plan as to what I'm going to talk about in this video. I'm just going to free flow it and just see how we go. And I must say, if you guys ever watch that vegan couple, their mukbang videos, have you noticed how easy they flow having 2 people there? Because like one can talk and the other one can eat, and then the other, and they switch it around, and that kind of keeps that conversation flowing a lot. I don't know, I guess there's less pauses because when you're chewing, the other person can talk and pipe in. So that's something I've noticed, that their videos, like their mukbang videos, flow quite nicely because of that. And they're great people, like, don't get me wrong. I have actually met them. They're really lovely. Gosh, there's so many channels that I watch that I feel like I should mention. Like, do something like what Tofu Tommy does, and he just sort of shouts out like pretty much every week, like a new channel. And you find so many new channels that way, and it really does help grow, I guess, the vegan YouTube community. I wish I could give this to you because it is so damn delicious. Oh my god. Oh man. I just don't know what it is, but I've been really digging celery at the moment. And like, I hadn't had celery in ages. When you have something and you haven't had it in a long time, you really notice those flavours. I've never really noticed how salty like celery actually is until I ate some the other day, and I was like, I'm not a huge fan of salty foods, although I do feel like I've been eating a lot of sort of miso paste and that stuff the last couple of months. I don't really know, like I don't know if I want to talk about sort of other people and what's been going on with some of the vegan YouTube community, or I want to head more into like a, you know, topics based sort of informational sort of mukbang. I'm not sure. Oh, I'll start with I guess my condolences for Sophie and her friends and her family. I watched Sunfruit Dan's video the other day, and I have actually, my partner's actually talked with him before. We're at a fruit festival that Brittany and Connor run, and yeah, and my partner was like, yeah, he's a really cool guy, and yeah, it was quite sad to hear about Sophie's passing. You know, my condolences to those that were close with her, and I'd imagine that's going to impact a number of people for quite a while. I don't want to dwell on negative things for too long. I've kind of got myself in a little bit of a predicament lately, because I did a collab, like an introductory sort of collab with Vegan Ichigo, and then some information had come out about some of his, I should say, behaviour towards others, and you know, I guess there was a video made about a year ago where he'd upset another vegan YouTuber that I also follow, and so I'm a little bit I'm a little bit hesitant to collab further, but you know, like what he's trying to do is obviously got a good thing. Like he's trying to get more vegan YouTube channels to collaborate, and I think for someone like myself, I'm always open to bringing other people's up. Like it doesn't matter to me what numbers that person has. They could have 1 subscriber or no subscriber, and I'd be happy to collaborate with them. I guess for me, it's more like a time thing of, you know, and especially when you are collaborating with people that living in different time zones. Like someone like myself, I live in New Zealand. The time zones here are, you know, it's quite different than most other, you know, most other YouTubers, because most other YouTubers live in other parts of the world. Australia's, you know, I guess it's not that different, but I mean most people are like living in like the UK, United States of America, you know, and like there's definitely have different time zones in New Zealand. So when you're trying to time it right so you can collaborate with people, and I'm not sure around what sort of technology I would need to do that, because I don't know how to record things on my computer screen and things like that. But like I have done I've done a sort of like a voice collaboration with Aizul Mazad and Balasiel before, and it was kind of like a Skype call, but you just talked, and that's what I did with Vegan Ichigo, and I quite like that sort of thing. I know it's not very visual, but it just means like less hassle in I guess regards to what sort of technology you need to make it work. I don't know how I would go about recording the audio though. That's probably more technology I need to get. And I have done a wee collab with another vegan YouTuber before, and like I did a video and she did a video, and we put it together, I feel really bad because I've just forgotten her name off the top of my head. Might be like in a peach. Oh, I'll leave a link to her channel down below anyway. And we've done a wee collab like that before, and that was really cool. And like, there's been a number of collab channels and things like that, but it's just the more the better, I guess. But I guess when it comes to, you know, when people are doing things that you're like, oh, you know, like obviously you don't always agree on everything, or even some things, or even hardly anything, you know, other than the fact that you just believe that, you know, animals shouldn't be exploited, or, you know, you might be able to agree on some sort of environmental thing, or, you know, like I'm probably even open to collaborating with other people that are not necessarily vegan, but sit very in line with some vegan values, and like you can see that they are heading in that sort of direction. But like, if you know, if they're doing things that are quite, I guess you could say, unethical, and the fact that, you know, like they're not being nice to other people, it kind of, that brings it to a whole other level. You're like, oh, like, should I do this? Should I not do this? So I'm just sort of umming and ahhing about that a lot lately, because I really want to participate, but I don't want to, I guess, kind of like destroy a sort of reputation, you know what I mean? Not that I have a reputation, or I probably do, you know what I mean? Like, it's, I don't want anything that I do in this sort of channel to hugely affect what other things that I might be doing offline, because it does appear that I'm going to be heading into a more professional career than what I am at the moment. Like, I work in banking, but if I want to go further and do other things, you know, such as the legal industry, I'm going to have to sort of make sure that I can keep myself a reasonably clean slate. Like, I don't drink, you know, I don't do things like that, so like that's already lowering my chances of, you know, going out on the town, getting pissed, fucking doing something really stupid. But yeah, you just never know what sort of things can come. I mean, there's certain YouTubers who just, their channel is mostly based on creating, like, it's kind of like you've got these little dots and you're trying to join the dots, and they're just making up all this bullshit about people. Like, you've legit got people making money off doing that, and they're targeting mostly like the vegan YouTube community. Kind of like a gossip channel, but it could be even worse for the fact that a lot of things are said may not even be true. I mean, you've got things like that happening, like people like, it can start to affect their life outside of YouTube, because you could type their name online and then bam, you know, all this stuff comes up, and your future employer could be like, well, we're not going to employ you, it says here that you're a pedophile, or, you know, like, yeah. I'm not sure where I'd taken that. That was heading very negative direction. Can't be positive all the time, though I do like to try. Not all the time, I forget, I guess. One thing I do find I struggle with, like, being in customer service. Come on, I think a lot of you can. Sorry, I always use the word guys. I don't mean it as in like only talking about a male gender. I just mean like you people. You people. I should just start using the word you people. Yeah, I'm assuming a lot of you people would understand, like, when you work in customer service. And I guess it depends what your job is, but do you sometimes feel like you just get that, especially when you're working a customer service with a high volume of interaction between people, just really sometimes brings your vibration down, if you know what I mean? Like, it really kind of, I don't know, I like it would be better. Like, not that I dislike customer service. I feel like it'd be better if there was like less customers. Obviously, this is not very good for an economic point of view, in regards to our current economic model. But you could have more interaction with them, get to know them better. Maybe you could start influencing them to make positive changes in their life. I know, because my role in banking is it's reasonably simple. It's just like front line, do deposit, do withdrawal. But the main purpose, obviously other than money, for the bank is actually sales. And it's something a lot of people don't realise. Banking is very sales focused, even right down at the bottom. And for us, the sales is, obviously the bank can offer all these services. So it can be things like insurances, mortgages, credit cards, personal loans, and a whole host of other things. So what your main goal is, okay, yeah, someone comes in, a withdrawal deposit, and if they don't bank with you, it's a little bit harder. And then that's, I guess, why we push for the technology. We get them to use the technology so that they're not kind of wasting our time, if you want to put it that way. And then it's like, oh, you look like they swipe their card or whatever, and you see that maybe they don't have something. So then you bring it up with them, you get them to talk, book a time, or you put them on through to someone who will then talk to them about that, and that's kind of that's a sale. But sometimes it's a bit conflicting when it comes to things, I guess, if you're talking about banking, because you don't really want to be asking people or talking people into getting things that they don't actually need, or that could put them in trouble, especially when it comes to lending, talking them into getting a personal loan for something when maybe they should just save a bit more money and then just buy it with the money that they've saved. Because we all know, if you buy something on a loan, you're going to pay a hell of a lot more than what if you had it in the first place. And I understand there's some things that you just may never be able to get the money for in the first place. So say, I guess you could use going to university as an example. Your parents don't have the financial means, so just myself, to pay for you to go or something like that. And you've only just got out of high school, if you've just got out of sort of that, I guess, don't know what you call it overseas, they might call it something else. You've just got out of high school, you haven't really had a lot of time to really save up money to pay for it straightforward. And if you're living in a country where it's not free, and if you didn't get a scholarship, you have to get a loan to be able to pay. Don't even get me started on how twisted and weird that is. But and so sometimes you can't. If you want a university, sometimes you have to get a loan. But then there's things you don't really need. It'd be like if you wanted to buy, I don't know, say you wanted to buy a car that cost 20 grand and you had 2 grand savings in there. You're going to kind of weigh up, is it worth getting the loan for that other 18 grand, and all the other interest and everything else you end up paying just to get this car, which is really going to devalue anyway quite quickly? Or should you just get a smaller loan, or even just get a cheap shit box, I guess you could call it. Yeah, I don't know. So many things I could talk about. This mukbang's gonna be all over the place. Once I get admitted to the High Court, or maybe just before then, who knows, depending on when I feel like I'm ready, I will share with you where I'm going next and what I'm doing next in my life. Pretty exciting stuff, really. Well, I think it is anyway. I can't wait. And I haven't told anyone really at work, so it's pretty hard, like going to work and then like kind of not being able to talk about it and not being able to get all excited and about it, but that's alright. I've started telling some of my family and some of my friends know, so yeah. But yeah, I'm hoping to get admitted after 7th of July to the court, so it'll be just before then or just after then that I will fill you in on what's going on. I must say, I mean, I'd be lying if I told you I wasn't conflicted with going into the industry, going into the legal industry, because like the public's obviously perception of what lawyers do and what the legal industry is like can be quite wrong in some cases and right in some cases. I'm not actually referring to particular cases. I must use the word cases far too often. You know, there's a lot of misconceptions about different types of law and what lawyers do and but they're there, you know, as with anything, there will be good things and there will be bad things, and I am a little bit worried about there could be some morals where, you know, like I might have to represent clients where I'm not happy with what they're doing, but unfortunately you don't pick and choose your clients very often, especially not at the start. Especially not at the start. And like in the legal industry, I guess the main point of view on that is that everyone deserves legal representation, whether, you know, they are a good person or a bad person, whether they've done good things or bad things. And like that's where you kind of have to, like, you just kind of have to suck it up and do that. And I guess you kind of have to distance yourself a lot from your client, but obviously still have their best interests at heart. And, you know, it's not always about winning and losing cases. Like, yes, it's, you know, winning the cases is great, because sometimes you just can't change the facts. The facts are what they are. And sometimes you're just going to be put in with a situation where it's just not going to work, and maybe the point of law that they're trying to argue on is just really not the good point of law for your client. I mean, ideally, I would like to, you know, do animal law. That would be really great. If not that, then environmental, and that would be great too. But you can't always guarantee which side are you going to be on, because more often than not, the ones that are paying and the ones that have the money are the ones that want to, I guess, do detrimental things to the environment. They want to do, I guess, detrimental things to animals, but I guess that's something I will deal with when I get to it, because who knows, I might end up working for like a not-for-profit organisation and be like their lawyer or in their legal team. So, and there's so many different areas that you can go to in law. Like obviously you can work for, in New Zealand we call it the Crown, so you can like work for the police and things like that, and you know, I guess if it's criminal stuff you do that, and or you could, you know, work for a firm and you do a lot of like contract law and things like that for businesses, and for when people buying and selling property, you know, and they'll do things like family law, and which sounds like a really, really hard law to get into. Not necessarily because it's really complicated, it's more or less, I think it'd be really hard to distance yourself from a lot of what's going on, and just there'd be a lot of raw emotions involved, I'd say, in that. But you could also, like, you could just be a barrister, which is just a person that just basically fights cases in the court. Because, you know, not all lawyers actually go to court. Some lawyers just, like, you know, just write, not just write, I'm not trying to detriment it, but, you know, they'll write contracts and things like that. And they might not necessarily have to go to court. They might get a barrister, like another lawyer, to go to court for their client if the client needs to go to court. Or you can work in-house, which is kind of like what I was saying before. Like, I could work for an organisation doing their legal work, and you're just working for them for their goal. And, like, I think that would be, like, the ultimate life. Ultimate law job for me would be, like, if I worked for a not-for-profit organisation. If I could still get, you know, and still get paid, it'd be great. But it wouldn't need to be a lot. Like, how much money do you really need to live? Like, some people just live in far excess. And if I get further into minimalism, like, my expenses are just going to drop even further. Like, my day-to-day living. You know, and wanting less possessions, it's going to benefit me. But yeah, if I could work doing that, I would, I'd be over the moon. Who knows? Watch this space. I can't believe, like, imagine if I was just, like, in a courtroom fighting for animal rights or something like that. Like, sorry, the video just cut out. But, you know, like, I would feel like my whole life had just been, like, leading up to it. If I was, like, in the courtroom fighting for animal rights or some major, like, environmental case. You know, like, change the whole law, or even if it was, like, the first substantial case of something that they, you know, they had some a couple of years ago where they were trying it a little bit in the States, and they were trying to give these chimpanzees rights, you know, and things with animal rights, like, I'm of the view that they don't necessarily have to have the exact same rights as humans. Like, I'm not saying that dogs should be allowed to vote or things like that. It's just, I guess, the right to not be, like, enslaved or, you know, tortured, and just those things that you would, I guess you would say would be fundamentals for human life. You know, you're not enslaved in somewhere, you're not tortured, you kind of have, like, a free will and things like that. So that's, when I'm talking about animal rights, that's sort of what I mean. But, and I'm sure some people would debate with me that's too far, or some people would debate with me that's not enough, and that's not really, like, I'm not really here to debate that. But if you have differing views, you're more than welcome to put them in the comment section down below. You know, like, to free all the cages or something, like, that would just be amazing. I've got some mates, actually. Before I go into that story, I just want to say, I absolutely love the Christchurch vegans community. Like, if any of you guys are watching right now, I love you. I really like, this is probably something that I've really started to love. Like, over the number of years, I've been kind of like, oh, I don't like living in Christchurch that much, but I really love the community that there is, like, this vegan community. Like, it's quite sort of all over the place and a bit diverse, and you got a whole bunch of us, and we're all a little bit got our own sort of, you know, views on things, and, like, yeah, not everyone always gets along with everybody, and you know, and not everybody hangs out with everybody, but I just love it. Anyway, so there's a group called NZAVS, so it's New Zealand Anti-Vivisection Society, and they are trying to get an animal lab shut down that's going to be built in New Zealand, in Otago, which is, it's like a region in New Zealand, and they have a university called Otago University, quite coincidental, and that is in a town called Dunedin. It's very much a student town, and they're going to build a new animal lab. Now, this animal lab is going to cost basically New Zealand tax dollars of about 50 million New Zealand dollars, And for some of you might not think that's not a lot. I still think that's far too much money, and it shouldn't even be built in the first place. And I'm really pissed off that my tax money is going towards something like that. And I guess that'll be a video for another day about taxes. But and I'm just, yeah, like, it's really terrible. And like, a lot of people are actually against it, who are not necessarily vegan or animal rights or whatever, you know, because they do testing on things like bunnies and dogs and all those things everyone sort of relates to as being, you know, super cute, and they wouldn't dare eat them, and all those things that we do to cows and pigs and chickens. But and they just, they're trying so hard to get it stopped, and I really hope that they can get it stopped, because it's a waste of money. Like, even just putting aside the whole how the animals are treated and like what goes on, and just putting aside the whole animal thing and like their welfare and their rights, and then looking at it from a scientific point of view, it's like taking a big step back. Now, I'm not a person who's actually studied a lot of science, so yes, you could probably say, what the fuck is she on about? How can she talk about this? She's not from a scientific background. But even I know that doing animal testing is not actually a really good thing if you want to run human tests, because like, we're not mice, we're not dogs, we're not bunny, you know what I mean? And there's so many other ways that we can do testing for things that actually don't involve animals, far reliable, and you can, you know, use some of these things like over and over again. Whereas obviously if you do something to an animal and they die, well, you kind of can't use it as a live test subject anymore, can you? So they're really pushing for that. I'll leave a link in the description box down below. Alright, I'm going to leave heaps of links, don't I? And that'll just take you through to where, like, their webpage and stuff like that. Just let you know, go over and support them. And like, we have some really cool, you know, not-for-profit organisations here. Like, well, there's Christchurch Animal Rights Action one, and they do actions. They've done rodeo actions, they've done duck shooting actions. You know, they're really good. And then we've got Uncle Save Animals Against Exploitation, Save Animals from Exploitation, and like, they do a lot of they took a bit of a different approach as well, and they're nationwide. And so they, you know, and then we've got like Christchurch Vegetarian Centre. Yes, I know it's vegetarian, it's not vegan, but pretty much, I mean, most of the people that run that place are vegan, so, you know, I love their work, I love their work. I love everything everyone does. And there's so many vegans in New Zealand that you can meet online, I should say. Like, you can talk with them online and stuff. And they're just amazing people, and I really hope that I can meet them one day. We had a animal rights conference in Wellington recently, and unfortunately I couldn't go because of my study commitments, my professional studies. I was a bit disappointed. Actually, I was really disappointed. I had a lot of FOMO from that. And like, I would have loved to have gone to something like that and got to meet some of these people that, like, you know, they live in up one end of the island and someone else lives in another end of the island, and just never really get to meet them. But I'd just love to. There's so many people I'd love to meet. And of course I'd love to meet so many of you that live overseas. No. So I just really felt like I needed to get some more food in there. now that I've finished, like, pretty much finished all the study that I was going to need to do, and that's not to say that I'm not going to do any more, like, I don't know what's around the corner, but I don't really want to go back to university, definitely not at this point in time. I've had enough study, like, I mean, since I left school, school, I've been doing, like, well, it's like 7.5 years now. That's enough for me at the moment. That's enough. But like it's kind of like, now that that's finished, I'm kind of like, I feel like there's all these things that I've been saying that I should do, but I feel like I should really start doing them now. I want to get more into yoga. I want to really get into meditation. Oh man. Really want to get into those things. And I think maybe later on down the track, I want to get into like marathon running and stuff like that. More into cycling, of course. But yeah, if you can think of any really good channels that are like based on meditation, like, definitely send them my way. I think it's just something you just gotta make time, and you just gotta do it. Like, you just gotta be, right, this is when I do my meditation, or and you just gotta be like, right, nothing else matters. There's no time right now. Obviously not right now, because this is a mukbang video. Oh, pardon me. Yeah. Awkward silence. Oh, so many things I want to share with you, but I can't share with you at the moment. Soon I will share them. Yeah. I'm washing. Oh my god. Bit of a mess, eh? I tell you what, I just can't wait. I just can't wait for the future, you know what I mean? Like, there's just so many things, like, in the world that we live in today, like, there are just so many things you can do, so many things you can experience. And I can see how it so easily gets just so scattered, because you just, like, want to do so many things. And maybe not. Maybe some of you just like, I'm just really passionate about one or two things. And like, that's totally cool. I'm not bagging that up. That's fine by me. But I just feel like there's so many things to like do and experience in this world. I just want to do it all. Like, I just... it's got to the point where I'm like, right, I really can start doing, it's kind of... Do you feel like you're kind of... like, you get through life and sometimes there's different stages, and I kind of feeling like I'm at this new stage now where I can really start making some new decisions about things, and maybe start thinking about things I hadn't thought about before. Yeah, I definitely want to start surrounding myself with even more conscious people, for sure, because I don't know. And maybe that's something that I just need to work on, because sometimes I'm like, especially when I'm at work and I'm serving some of these customers, and I'm just like, I get really frustrated, because I'm like, why can't people just see outside of their grey cloud? Like, there's some pretty cool things out there. Like, they need to, I guess, be more woke. But I can't. Like, you can't impose something like that on somebody. They've got their journey, and you've got yours, and the only journey that you really have more control over is yours. You can't go around saying, I wish that person was more like this, or wish that person was more like that, or you just kind of have to take the plate as it is. You can work with it a little bit, but you really can't change the plate to something else. You know what I mean? But I would like to surround myself with more people that can help me grow, for sure. And I'm not necessarily talking about YouTube channel, but just grow as a person. Because there's so many things to learn out there, and I feel like there's a lot of knowledge, even like within ourselves and what we can do, that we haven't got to yet. Or there's a few out there, I'm sure, who are, you know, onto it. They know heaps of stuff about heaps of things. But then there's some of us who are just, you know, I think I need to think better about how I'm trying to word this before I say any more. I think I'll leave the video on this note. You're all a little bit confused, I'm sure. I'm sorry. But yeah, do you know what I mean? Like the power of the mind is just infinite, really. And I want to use it some more, if you get what I mean. And I'm not necessarily talking about going and studying and writing things on books and things like that. I'm talking about things like to do with meditation and consciousness and things like that. Yeah, I think I'll leave this video on here. Look at this fly just hanging around, annoying me this whole video. And Buddy, the wee dog, I can see him in the garden over there. I better let him in. I feel so bad making him sit outside, but really I wouldn't have been able to do this video if he was inside in here. So yeah, I'll leave some links in the description box down below of those channels I talked about and people I talked about. I really should do more shout outs. I should shout out more channels, and I should do collabs with channels. And I guess the collab thing is just, it's kind of like a time thing, and like technology, it's kind of holding me back a little bit. But once again, it's all in my mind, really, isn't it, at the end of the day? So yeah, I'm done with the mukbang for today. I'll try and see if I can do another one of these sometime soon. Because it's just, you need to do a good mukbang video every now and then. If that's your thing, of course. And, no, more than welcome to comment on anything that I said down below. Comment on something that I absolutely didn't say anything about in the comment section. That's fine too. I don't mind. It just kind of, you know, shows, I guess, that you got something out of the video. And I hope you've done something that makes you happy today. See ya.